Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Bad Talk with JiJi. I am, of course, JiJi. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at JIONNE.MC. Make sure you are also following the Bad Talk page, badtalkw.jiji. And if you are not, you should be. Please follow us. Well, not follow. Subscribe, like, comment on all of our content on YouTube. We have all the episodes up there from last week. This episode will be uploaded hopefully this weekend. If not, it'll be there next week. I like slack with uploading episodes. I suck at that, but I'm going to get better. And I'm so excited for today's episode. I feel like this episode is going to be super important for a lot of people. Mainly, influencers and businesses. But because most of the people who watch the show and engage with the content are artists, and I think they can get a lot of stuff from this. And I think our guest is in here, so I'm going to send an invite now. Well, my bob is bobbing tonight, honey. I love my bob. Yes! Hold on. I hate when it, shifts. Okay, this is...
You gotta back up a little bit.
I know. I'm on my, couch. I gotta get a better setup. Okay, this
How you doing, girl?
Hey! It's Big Jazz, not the little one.
Don't gas me up.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know we were supposed to have you on, but this is actually perfect because, September surge, even though it's mostly for people who's finding jobs, I feel like September is such a refresh and reset month. So a lot of things we're talking about today can really help people kind of get the most and really just, get their stuff out there.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So you are considered a social media marketing strategist and a creative consultant. I got that right?
Yeah. I do a lot of things within that, but yeah.
I know. I mean, that's the main thing, but it's just a lot of sauce in there.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, my official title was social media strategist. But I have done a lot of kind of larger digital marketing across various industries in my career. So
nice. So if you could just tell us a little about your journey.
Oh, okay. So my journey is a little unconventional. I went to college, I got a degree in communications, but I didn't really study marketing at all.
Mm-hmm.
What had happened was I was working retail and I ended up getting fired. And I'm the kind of person that's just I don't like to be idle. I need to do something. So I ended up kind of taking on a passion project. I was really big into natural hair at the time. This was right after I graduated college. I was really big in natural hair, and I ended up writing a book on how to create your own products from things you can buy in a grocery store. Kind of built a small little business around it. So I shopped the book around, did a couple of events where I sold the books and had a social media presence and a website, the whole nine. And then I ended up coming across a job opening for a digital account manager at an agency. And I didn't have any kind of real prior experience besides my little passion project. And they took a chance on me. And I've been in the marketing industry ever since. I started agency side, and I was working at a kind of subset of one of the biggest marketing agencies in the United States. I was working on brands like Prego pasta sauce and Sylvan Learning and QVC, and we did some stuff with NASCAR and the Olympics. So I was kind of had my hand in a bunch of things. I hated it there. I learned a lot, but I hated it there. So I ended up going to a different agency that focused more on nonprofit clients or clients that were for-profit but had a for-good model. At the time, I was going through my little hotel phase. So I was I can't feed it. I gotta work with, I gotta do good with what I do. But then I learned working with nonprofits, it's all the same shit. So I ended up going in-house at one of the largest and oldest nonprofits in New York City, 92nd Street Y. I'm not sure if you heard of it, but if you haven't, you should check them out. They're a Jewish organization, but they do a lot of cultural programming. They have a celebrity talks program where celebrities, actors, musicians, writers, everything in between will kind of go and host talks about various things. Was working there for a while, and then the pandemic hit, and because it was a creative, in-person focused work that I was doing, the in-person shit had got clipped for a minute. So I was oof, it's looking shaky. I gotta make a move because I'm not the kind of person who wants to wait for the other shoe to drop. So I ended up going to TED Talks, and I was working on their climate change initiative for a while. And then I got an opportunity to work where I work now at Snipes, doing things that I love with sneakers and streetwear. And I've been there for almost 3 years now. So yeah, that's my background in a nutshell.
I love hearing how people's career journey, even though they'll say it's like, oh, it's not conventional, you know, I didn't do a direct route. And then you always just come how when you like just do everything, you just kind of find yourself where you wanted to be in the first place. And I feel like a lot of it is really just working places so you can just gain the experience because like for me, most companies don't want to take a chance on me. They look at my resume and be like, girl, you've been everywhere. What are you good at? Girl, everything. Hire me.
Exactly.
I know you.
I
don't have a one set resume. You're gonna see I did some marketing here, legal stuff here. Like I've done everything. Just hire me.
Yeah, that's the hard part, right? I think, and this girl, we're gonna get to a whole other topic of this, but I think for us specifically as Black women, we're always gonna kind of face those types of hurdles, right? Kind of having to overdevelop and overprove that we're worth an opportunity when we know that we can do that shit in our sleep. But I think the core thing there is to, I don't know, I've trusted God in this process, and that's been challenging. But he's kept his hand on my journey and my process, and like trusting where I'm going to end up will ideally be the best place for me, or at least be something that I can learn from to end up getting where I want to go. So, you know, I think that we're going to always kind of face those kinds of issues, but like we're resilient people. We've always been resilient people. We're always going to find our in somewhere. And what I've learned is that when we do find our in, like we're gonna smash it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I love the whole trust the process thing because it sounds so much fancier than what it is because it's so hard to trust the process. But when your moment comes, it does come and you reap those rewards like, oh, thank you. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, but it's hard. Like, because trusting the process means you have to trust yourself. And if you're in a space where you're learning or, you know, you're trying to build your craft, it's hard to do so because you might have imposter syndrome. You might feel insecure about, you know, what you've done or haven't done yet, right? So trusting the process is not like all flowers and gummy bears that people want, like, or stars that people want to make it seem. It is hard. It is deliberate work. It is work you have to choose to do every day in the face of adversity, when doors are closing on you, when you're getting ghosted from interviews. Like, you got to continue to trust the process, and really it's all about your perspective. I've been working on that myself, to be honest. Like, it's not always easy to maintain this like optimistic perspective, but what I've been learning through my own journey, through my friend's journey, is that your perspective is what's going to build your reality, right? So if you're telling yourself that these opportunities that did not work out for me were in my best favor because it didn't work out, you'll have a better time with the process rather than saying, oh, these opportunities didn't work out for me, so I'm not worth it, right? And I think that is a very difficult thing to juggle, because if you think that you're worth it, right, but everyone else or what's happening in front of you is not reflecting that, it is very easy to get to a place where you're like, damn, am I worth it? Like, am I who I say I am? But you got to believe that shit with your whole chest, because if
them no's really take a toll on you, and it make you want to just be like, all right, let me just get a regular job and calm down. Maybe I'm aiming too high.
We not regular
at all.
So like we can't get a regular job and do regular things.
You're not regular.
Out here.
I ain't gonna lie, I was this close to getting a retail job, and I was like, girl, you do not like customer service.
That's the one thing. And I was talking to my therapist about that. Like, know what you can. Like, keep your options flexible, but know your boundaries. I'm not good with large groups of general public, so I'm never going back to retail. Like, I don't know if you know, God forbid this career thing doesn't work out for me and I need to do something, it will not be retail. I will be door dashing, where it's like a one-on-one thing. Should I hit the pole before I go back? Before I go back to packing bags and tell people, you know, good afternoon and thank you, because that's just not, it's not for me. So
this is so awesome. Customer service makes you realize how uneducated, ignorant the majority of the population is.
They're entitled. Everyone thinks that, like, oh, you have to do this for me because this is your job, and there's an air of arrogance in that.
And I'm like, I'm quick to not, ma'am.
And that's why I got fired, because I'm quick to hey, not over here. Go to the next cashier. Not this one. Had to get up out of there. But yeah, it's tough.
So I was reading your bio, and you mentioned that you've taught over 1,000+ social media marketing professionals. So what are some fundamental principles you emphasize when teaching others about digital marketing?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think the core thing is to identify what your business or your brand has to offer your audience, right? I think we're in a place now where consumers don't want to just be marketed to. They don't want you to continuously ask them for things without giving them something, right? So you need to kind of figure out what is the value prop of your brand. What can you offer people, right? And it's not just like, oh, I have this dope product I want them to buy. It's like, no, what kinds of information can you offer? What can you teach them? What can you show them that they might not have seen before? What problem can you fix for them, right? So when you start to answer all those questions, what you'll see is that all the pieces of the marketing puzzle will start to come together. Because when you've identified, you know, okay, I can teach people about digital marketing. Okay, boom. Now I can figure out what content looks like, because I know that my goal is to teach them the fundamentals. So my content should reflect that. And that's kind of like, that begins the process of everything falling together. I also think that you need to be patient, right? People think that there's a lot of marketers that will tell you, oh, I got the formula, you'll go viral tomorrow, you'll get 1,000 followers, just do this, just do that, just do these 3 steps. It don't work like that. How it works is like this. We don't, as regular people using these platforms, we don't have visibility as to what the algorithm is actually doing. We have an idea and we know what they tell us, but at the end of the day, Instagram, Meta, TikTok, ByteDance, whatever the hell these platforms are, they are a business and they have their own goals in mind. So at the end of the day, their algorithm is going to benefit their business, right? So be mindful of that. That said, they're doing things behind the scenes and testing things constantly. They're just not letting us know. So there is no like formula, because what worked on Monday might not work on Wednesday and definitely won't work on Saturday, but it might work again next week.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you kind of have to constantly be trying things, and in that process, be patient. Some people, people might make it look easy because, you know, you might see a person go viral overnight, but it's not overnight, right? They've posted 100 videos over the course of the last 3 months. So it's being patient with the process, also being consistent, right? So with that patience, you need to kind of continue to push yourself and push your brand. If content is your thing, you need to be creating content consistently. Does that mean every day? For some people it does. For some people it doesn't. Yeah. Some people it's like, I post on Thursdays and then I go about my business. But if your audience can expect you to post on Thursdays, then they'll be on your page on Thursdays. So yeah, patience, consistency. What else I would say? Engagement, right? You need to engage with your audience. Don't just talk at them, speak with them, right? So if they're commenting, or, you know, if they're commenting on your stuff, reply back. If they're DMing you questions, answer them, right? You don't have to answer all of them. If they're crazy, ignore them, right? But like, build the relationships with your audience, because that is what's going to help you build a loyal following. What you're trying to do with any brand or any business is build that mental real estate in people's minds, so that when they are thinking of whatever it is you have to offer, you come to mind first as opposed to somebody else. And when you start to do those things, like, things will start to come together. And I would say the final thing is test everything, try a bunch of shit, see what sticks, see what doesn't. The worst that can happen is you get 0 likes on a post. The best thing that can happen is you go viral and shit goes crazy for you, right? Always be prepared to try new things, because the atmosphere of social media is constantly changing. There's a lot of things that you could do that you might have not done before, but also be mindful that every trend might not be for your business. Like, if you don't dance, like, don't dance on your channels, right?
It's awkward too when people try to do it. I'm like, girl, that's not for you.
And it's okay. It's okay that it's not for you, because it's not for everybody. Like, I remember I saw recently, I think Benefit Cosmetics posted a video. Like, you know that person who like rolls things down the stairs and just watches it breaks? So they, I guess, you know, picked up on that trend, and they were rolling their like skin products down the stairs and was like, let's see how well our skincare products roll down the stairs. And I'm just like,
nobody doing that.
I get why you thought that was going to work, but that's not what your audience is looking for from you. That you're a makeup brand. They want to see tutorials. They want to see how your product works. They want to see how people are using it. They want to see who's using it, right? Like, you have a lot of room to play with in there. You can get creative within that, but like don't feel the need to jump on every little trend that's happening, because like it can do more harm than good. So I would say those are like the kind of fundamentals for right now.
I love that you mentioned that social media is constantly changing. So to make sure your strategies are effective and to keep them effective, how are you staying up to date on that?
Oh, you gotta be on here. And I don't like. It's funny because I'm like the most social media manager, but you gotta be on here. You gotta be paying attention. You need to be doing research. I would say like start with brands or businesses that are relative to yours and see what they're doing. I'm not gonna tell you to copy them, but see what they're doing, see what's working for them as best you can, see what's not working for them, and then figure out, okay, within what I know is working for these brands that are relative to mine, what is my unique proposition? What's my unique perspective, and how can I put that on whatever is working? And you got to stay dynamic, right? You got to kind of pay attention to where things are shifting. So we know that when we first got on Instagram, it was all photo. You might have posted a video here and there, but it was all photo. Over time, video's been more prioritized. Now you can monetize video. So you kind of have to stay on top of like where the platforms are going so that you can stay ahead of the curve. Like don't wait for somebody to tell you what's going on. Continue to do your research. At the top of every year, there are a number of reputable digital marketing publications that do these like top 50 trends for 2024, let's say, right? Check those out at the beginning of every year. Check them out quarterly if you need to, right? Just to see like what's going on. Stay on top of some of the brands that, like I mentioned, are relative to yours. Don't always watch like, the Ubers and the Netflixes of the world, that these are huge conglomerates, because they have something that you don't have, and that is
money,
reach. And money. They got money and they got reach, right? And they're household names now. Like you're trying to build to that point. So kind of focus on the brands that are, again, more relative to you. See what they're doing, see where the platforms are going, and then kind of find your space within that. So let's say you're somebody who has a business and you're not a videographer, but you know that videos work. There are things that you can do at your level in your space that will work for you. And be considerate, right? So if you're a mother of two and you're trying to sell, shea butter moisturizers, nobody's expecting you to create a Martin Scorsese type cinematic masterpiece for your Instagram. There's a authenticity that you need to maintain, and that they'll respect you, right? So even if it's just a video where you're like, phone is propped up against a flower vase on my kitchen table, and I'm gonna just talk to y'all, and this is what it is. The more you do that, the more your audience is like, okay, cool. She's talking some real shit here, even if it's just on her table and it's her in the kitchen making dinner for her babies, right? People have made millions doing that. It's because they maintain authenticity. So that's how you kind of stay up on trends, see what folks are doing in your space, find your unique spin on it, keep track of what these platforms are doing for their own good, whether it's prioritizing video or, even if it's like how long are the videos, right? At first, reels were what, a minute? And now you can post longer reels. Same thing with TikToks. You can post up to 10 minutes on TikTok, right? So pay attention to what's going on in the space, and just try a bunch of shit to see what works for you.
I really struggle with social media. Like the stuff I've gone viral for is like stuff I don't care about. Like I was just playing around and then boom, I'm going viral. Then I'm like, oh, people watching my page, and I start posting the stuff that I want to do, 50 likes, 1,000 views. Like, hello, I need y'all to look at this. This is the stuff that's important. So it pisses me off because it's like I never could get a grasp on how can I figure out what it is and just keep up the momentum. And then I just give up and then go under my rock and then come back like, okay, y'all, I want to fit some content out. Like, it's really hard, and I give flowers to the people who post every day. I can't.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean, for me to be in the industry that I work on, I don't work on my page at all because I gotta do it for my day job. I absolutely refuse. But I will offer you this, right? Because I know you went viral for the Harry Potter thing. That was dope. I thought it was really funny. You naturally have a comedic essence that most people don't have. Like, you're just naturally funny. So instead of saying that, like. But instead of saying like, oh, you guys only want me for this thing and I have these things to offer, figure out like, okay, what are some of the ways that I can merge the two? If you want to share information, but people are coming to your page because they want something funny, you can make information funny. It's just figuring out, and it's for you to kind of test to figure out, okay, what feels comfortable for me, what feels natural for me, but and within that, how do I affect both of my goals? How do I get people to listen to what I'm saying, but also give them what they want? So you don't always have to look at it like it needs to be two separate things. You can merge the two, girl. You are very talented. You're hilarious. You have charisma. You can work a room, mama. Like, that's where you need to draw in and put that into your content. And what you'll see is the more you do that, like, fuck it, keep pushing. If only 50 people see it, that's 50 people. You keep doing it, you're gonna have 50 more, and then 50 more, and then 50 more, because what you're doing is you're realigning your audience. So yeah, the folks who are gonna come for the Harry Potter shit, they might not stay, but they're also probably not who you want. They're people who are just like coming to use social media for shits and giggles. You trying to learn somebody something,
right?
Those people are around, and they're gonna want your content. You just have to keep doing things, and then eventually they'll come, and you'll build your following that way. So you can just, bring it.
Come on, just for me. This could have just been a FaceTime. Somebody asked, how important is consistency?
I'm sorry, say that again. How what?
How important is consistency?
Oh, it's incredibly important. For two reasons. One, the algorithm does prioritize people who are consistent, right? So if I use myself as an example, and again, I don't market my page at all. I don't do much to it. My page is for me to look cute and show you I'm a bad bitch. If you want more than that, you can come holler at me. We can have a conversation all day. But when I was posting like maybe every week, I would see 200-300 likes. So I'm like, okay, cool. I think I'm cute. That's fine. But then I would start taking months, seasons, hiatuses from like showing myself, and then I'll post again. I'm like 172. I'm like, y'all was just clearing 350 in the spring. What you mean 172? I got fired. What you mean? What you mean? I'm only doing 172. But how the algorithm in short works is like it will recognize how often you're posting, and if you post consistently, they will show your page to more people because there's more content for people to absorb. So it's incredibly important, but also you want your audience to know that you're here and you're active. So if you have a product to market and you want them to buy your product, they need to know that you're active. So that, let's say they want to order something from you. If they don't think that you're active, they're not going to trust you going to ship their shit out, because it's like, well, you ain't posted since November 2022. I don't know what you got going on. I don't know, if you're still in business. I don't know if this product
still work.
Your stuff still work. I don't know if it's fresh, if it's new. Like it helps you build that trust with your audience, which is important, especially if you want them to spend money with you. If you want them to trust your word, you got to show them like, yo. And even if you take little dips here and there, like, you're human. No one's expecting you to be on 24/7. If you can, God bless you. All of us ain't got that. So if you need to take a little dip here and there, that's fine, but just be mindful of how long those dips are, right? Even in the event, let's say you don't want to, post yourself, or you don't want to make content for a while, that's when you can borrow UGC from other people and still keep your page. User-generated content. That's part of my strategy at Snipes. In the event that we're low on content for whatever reason, what we do is we'll pull videos that are relative to the kinds of content we will post, and we will post it, and we'll just tag the creator. So if we see a funny video that involves sneakers or streetwear or any of our marketing pillars around dance, skateboarding, sports, whatever, we'll take that video and we'll post it, and it'll help boost the engagement. It's not necessarily our content. We ain't make it, but we can post it because it's on the internet. We tag the creator so we don't get, it's not crazy. We don't put no money behind it because that's when shit gets sticky. But it still keeps our page fresh. Now, you don't want to rely on that too much, because you still want to make sure your presence is yours, right? You don't want a page full of other people's shit. But it'll help you during those times where it's like, I don't want to actually do too much. And then there are things that you can lean into, right? So what I've been seeing a lot now I personally don't get it, but it's been working. I've seen the engagement on it. People will take a video and stitch themselves next to it, and they're just on the screen like this.
Oh my God.
Like reacting, or just like watching it like, look what they saying, look what they saying. You can do that. It's that simple. You ain't got to do shit but sit here and fold your arms and make a face and be like, I've seen people do that, and the video got 59,000 likes. For real, for real. 59.5K likes, 100 and however many views. Like, people do that. So you got to kind of get a little tricky with it if you don't want to do your own thing. But you got to, like, you know, be focused on consistency. Give yourself room, but focus on consistency for sure.
Isn't it important for people to have the same strategy for, say, Instagram versus TikTok?
No, not always. Not always. So another key piece. You have to know how your audience is using the platforms that you are on. People use Instagram differently than they use TikTok. No matter whether or not the platforms are starting to mirror each other, like TikTok, you can search there, and now you can search on Instagram in the same way you can search on TikTok. People are using it differently. So you have to understand how folks are using the platform. For example, I've always struggled, no matter where I worked, I've always struggled to make Twitter work for some of these brands. But the problem is you got to think about how people use the platforms. Twitter is not a place where people are going to make purchasing decisions. When you want to go, when you want to see, you know, what bag is trending and what shoes are trending, or what you want to go, what shoes you want to buy next, you're probably not going to Twitter for that. When you want to see, like, oh, well, what can I pick up from Target that's new and fresh, you're probably going to TikTok. If you want to see, like, news or like food or whatever, you might also go to Instagram for things like that. So you gotta have to be mindful of how people are using it, because your audience is not, even if you have the same followers across platforms, they're engaging with, are potentially engaging with you differently. So go back to the Twitter thing, because I realized I didn't finish my thought. On Twitter, people are going to make hot takes, they're going to make commentary, they're going to talk shit, right? You can't go on there like, hey guys, buy my bag. Because you might get flamed if the bag is trash, because people are on there to share their thoughts. So on Twitter, you might not directly post and say, buy my bag, here's a link. You might make a story around the bag. You might do a story time around the bag, or you might put commentary or ask a question, right? Like, what type of bags y'all into? And then see what people are saying, and then you plug yourself in, like, well, y'all like these kinds of bags, and I got this bag right here. So you just gotta be mindful about how folks are using it and kind of get in where you fit in, right? On TikTok, for example, there's a lot of like hacks and people learning that they didn't do differently. You'll see it trickle on Instagram, but like people are gonna go to TikTok for that kind of content. So if your business is relative to that trend, you would put that forth more so on TikTok. Instagram, a little more flexibility, because Instagram is trying to be TikTok, so you can kind of keep the same strategy, but understand who within your audience is on there. TikTok skews younger. It's more Gen Z, millennial. Instagram is more millennial, Gen X, and some boomers in some cases. Excuse me, in some cases. So, yeah, you kind of have to just be mindful of, like, who's where, how are they using these platforms, how can I get in on how they're using it so that it feels organic across the board. And that means you might have to change a few things per platform.
I'm taking notes in my head, like, all right, girl, we got to get to it.
But we can have a one-on-one. That's a problem.
Book her, y'all. The link is in the bio.
It's in the bio, and my Calendly is open, okay?
You touched on this a little bit, but in your expertise, what are some of the key differences in approaching social media for large companies versus those small businesses, those startups?
I think it's definitely harder for small businesses and startups, but I also think that startups and smaller businesses have more flexibilities than large businesses. So larger businesses, they kind of have there's a brand guide, there's a brand aesthetic. There's more to lose if you teeter outside of what's been approved versus what's happened, right? So for me, if I want to go on Twitter, let's say I'm with Snipes and I want to go on Twitter and join a conversation about what sneakers are the wackest, I couldn't do that because they're going to be talking about vendors that we sell. We don't want to piss our vendors off, so we can't engage in that. Whereas a small business who's just doing it on their own, let's say it's like a boutique designer and they have their own shoes, they can go and talk shit on that thread if they wanted to because there's less at stake.
Right.
And then when it comes to content, larger businesses, because they have this like aesthetic they have to maintain, the photos have to be a certain quality and they're doing larger scale photo shoots. There's no real room for that rawness that tends to work on social media. Whereas small businesses, like I said earlier, you can just pop your phone up on your kitchen table, and now you're having a conversation, right, with people, and they're engaging with you, and they're shopping with you. So I think that, you know, what small businesses lack in reach and financing, right? Because at the same time, larger brands have a lot more money. They can spend a lot more money on advertising, right? They can help increase their reach that way. They can work with larger influencers. What small businesses lack in the finance department, as well as in the reach department, they have a wealth of, as far as freedom and flexibility to kind of do whatever it is you want to do. I think the woman who did the pig sauce is a really good example of that, right? She's a woman who has, you know, she's a family, and she was just making sauce in her crib that she thought was dope because it was a pink sauce. She was posting it. It was different. It was weird. People didn't really, we don't really think of sauce and think hot pink, right? On our
There was
hot
so many different colors.
We're not gonna get into that. Okay? In essence, though, her content wasn't super produced. It was her in her kitchen making this sauce, and it blew up for her, right, overnight. So there's a wealth of opportunity in that authenticity and that rawness, and I think the platforms now are prioritizing that too, especially TikTok. Like, because TikTok is such a newer platform, there's so much room for people to try things and do things that are fun and different. As a small business where it's just you as the owner, you can decide whatever the hell it is you want to do. Whereas these larger companies got teams of people who have to approve and see things. Like, there's not that much flexibility to be creative, whereas small businesses are able to do so. And within that, right, that creativity could open you up to stardom or, you know, brand deals, right? Same thing with the pink sauce lady. She was making sauce in her crib, then she got that Target deal. Now, we ain't got to get too deep into it, but you got to be prepared for things like that, right? Be prepared to scale, right? So plan ahead. But there's a wealth of opportunity there. Whereas bigger brands, like, because they're more established, there's so many like guardrails that limit them from being creative. And I think also it's the way that people engage. If it's a small business, people are going to feel a little more relatable to that person, right? It feels more accessible. Whereas a bigger business, the minute you fuck up, they're going to point the finger at you and tell you fucked up. Okay? Right? So there's more at stake too. Because, like, if we go viral with something negative, people are writing articles, right? But if a small business that only has like 2,000 followers, if you fuck something up, somebody might cut your ass in your comments, but like, they're not going to write whole think pieces on you if you're lucky. I've seen it happen before, but for the most part, they're not going to write think pieces. Like, you have less at stake. So yeah, I think those are kind of like the core differences. Like, small businesses have a lot more freedom, where they lack in like reach and finance. So
I've always said I prefer TikTok over Instagram because I can go on TikTok in my bonnet and just talk shit and people engage with me. Like, I remember it wasn't a series. It was just me replying to comments over one video. And the conversation was just about like Black actors who are underrated, like talking about Jamie Foxx, the Wayans family. And and this was after the whole Hogwarts viral thing. And I was enjoying that. And I'm like, damn, I can't do this on Instagram because on Instagram, I feel like Instagram is such an aesthetic. Like, people don't care about what you're talking about. They want to see what you look like. Yeah.
We're lying on Instagram. We're real on TikTok. We're lying on Instagram.
On TikTok, I'm in a bonnet, the lashes is off, and no one cares. They just care about what I'm talking about. On Instagram, people want to care what I'm talking about. My first photo before, because you know when you put your real up, you got to put your little photo. I got to be sitting up there like for you to even see what the hell I'm talking about. And I hate that because I'm like, even when I do these interviews, I just want to throw my wig on and talk because I just want y'all to care about the content. Who cares what I look like? Like, I just want y'all to get the gems.
Yeah, but Instagram, like you said, it's all aesthetic. I think to some degree it started that way, right? Think about how when we first got on Instagram, we're all like, look at my food plate. I'm at a restaurant.
Starbucks.
Yeah, look at this cup. Like, it started out as a place to curate aspects of your life that you weren't curating on MySpace or Twitter, right? Like, so yeah, we're all lying on Instagram to some degree. I don't always look like this. I mean, I do, but like, I don't. So you have to, for Instagram is a place where people tend to put on where, that's why I do value TikTok. I personally don't use it just because I'm not the content type girly just yet, but I value TikTok and what it brings because it does allow a rawness or a realness rather to be prioritized and be in the spotlight. And I think we need that. I think we've gotten to a place where we've gotten too focused on curating all the best moments of our lives, and we're not really living them.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing things that we know will look good when we post it, right?
Yep.
We're not, but in a lot of ways, like a lot of people are not actually living in it. Whereas on TikTok, like you can live in it, and I think there's always gonna be a level of curation to social media, no matter where you are. But I think on TikTok, to your point, like you could get on there with a bonnet and just be like, "Yo, story time," and people are just like,
What happened,
what's
girl?
going on? Tell me. And they're not worried about your bonnet or the sink full of dishes in the back. They're gonna say they want to know. They want to be up in your business. They want to know what's going on. So yeah, I think we needed a little bit of that freshness.
What are some mistakes that people first make when they start, I guess, getting into social media that they should definitely avoid?
Ooh, mistakes. This is a personal gripe. These like overdone Canva graphics, pack them up. Pack them up. Leave these templates. Please leave these templates. Now, there's a way to make it fresh. There's a way to make it cool. Use them sparingly, though, right? Like people are not necessarily reading them in that fashion. People are still reading posts, right? Because we see Justin LeBoy has made millions off of stealing people's tweets and posting them and having people read tweets and swipe through or whatever. And we see that there's an influx of people taking like screenshots of Twitter threads and putting them on Instagram in a carousel. And I be reading them shit.
I do it.
I love them, right? But that's the thing to pay attention to. Formatting is very important. You don't have to be this, like, people think, oh, I need to be so polished and da-da-da-da. You don't really have to be. You can find ways to polish your brand in other ways, but like leave these like overly done, crowded graphics alone. If you want to share information, here's a twofer. Post it on Twitter, take a screenshot, crop that bitch, post it. Because it works.
So you're not a fan of the people who sell the templates and then they're like, oh, we can help you have a brand identity for your page, and they have like all the colors that match.
I never really believed in that, because think about it this way. There are very few people who are looking at your page holistically. When they come across your page, they're looking at individual posts on their feed. They're scrolling. Their brains are not putting the posts next to each other to see how it's all coming together and making sure all the colors align. People don't necessarily care. I've always argued that. It doesn't matter. People are not going to, I've never heard anyone say, you know, I bought this product from this company because their page had mad beige on it. I like where the beige was organized.
And people's attention span is not that long anymore. Like, it's short. It
is like 0.2 seconds, if that, right? Like, so I think the over curation of it, like all the posts have to be, you know, some people will do like, they'll have like a series of one type of post going down the middle of their page, and they have two other types of posts going down the sides. Like that over curation, unnecessary. You're stressing yourself out for nothing. We don't care. People are not engaging with your page like that. They're going post by post. They're not looking at your page holistically. So I think save yourself the time, save yourself the stress. They're not worried about it. Somebody in the comments, hey, Crystal, she's like, it's about the messaging nowadays. Absolutely. Focus on your messaging. What do you want to talk about? What do you want people to know you for? What do you have to say? That's all you have to focus on. And then over time, as you go back to what I said earlier, as you try new things, as you try new formats, you see what's going on, you're testing, you'll see how folks are responding to the way that you are messaging your message. But you don't have to, out the gate, like focus on this over curation stuff. What other mistakes people making? I think some folks don't understand the concept of like short form content. So I would say Instagram is not the place, or even TikTok. Be mindful of attention spans. Like you don't need to post a 5-minute video, you're just talking. Learn how to break that up, right? Bite-sized, digestible, quick, 1, 2, 3, right? You don't need to have a whole dissertation in the video to make yourself credible. Break that shit up, okay? And trust that you know what you're talking about, because it will come through on the message. Even if it is just a 4-second clip of something, if you know what you're talking about, that will be conveyed, and your audience will respond to that. You have to do like long form videos. Go on YouTube if you're going to do long form, because that's where people are looking for 45-minute video because that's how you use the platform. So yeah, cut that shit up. I've seen that a bit too in the beginning. Like people just don't know like what they're doing. Don't go crazy in the beginning and buy all this extra gear and equipment. You don't need a 4K, $1,000 Nikon or a Fuji camera. Shout out Yolishi in the comments.
I was
You
say,
don't need that to start, unless that's your thing. If you are a photographer, yes, get your equipment and put yourself in the best position. But if you just one of us and you just like want to start making some quick content, you're not trying to be, Steven Spielberg with it. You don't go out and spend trying to spend $4,000 on equipment because it's not going to make a difference if your message is lame or you don't know what you're doing with it, right? Start small. It's okay to start small. Start with what you got. If you have an iPhone 14 Pro Max with a decent camera, use it. You got a Pixel with a really good camera, Android phone, use it. It's more so about what you're doing with it, not what you're using. This is just my own personal thing. It's not always a podcast. Lord have mercy. It's not always a podcast. You don't have to jump on what everybody else is doing. It's not always a podcast. I want them to start screening niggas for podcasts.
When people come up to me and ask me, like they'll say, "Oh, you had a podcast. I want to start one." I always say, if you can give me a layout of 10 episodes, what you're going to talk about, I'll help you. Because some people, I think because they had an opinion on one thing, they immediately going to, now we should have a podcast. To talk about what?
Look, me and Yolanda are constantly talking shit in our home, and we are always saying, we need a podcast. But we don't have one more reason, okay? Like, and I think, and again, like, I think people just need to be mindful of, like, what their medium is. For some people, it is a podcast. For other people, it's video content. For other people, it's tweets. For other folks, it's, it's live engagements, right? Like you kind of got to find your medium because every medium is not for everybody. And I think we need to be more mindful of that. I can go on and on for that, but I just feel like we're getting into a space where it's just, I don't want to use the word oversaturation because I think we overuse the word oversaturation, but there is an overabundance of certain kinds of content that just doesn't really add much to the space.
I agree.
You need to find what is working for you. It doesn't always need to be a podcast. It doesn't always need to be video even. Some people don't need to do video, to be honest. Like some people just need to, you could just live on Twitter and that be your thing. But yeah, just finding your medium is fine. And I think I just had another thought, but it lost me. I'll bring it back if it comes back to me. But yeah, those are my mistakes.
Can you walk us through your process? So you have someone who booked you, they want you to do their social media marketing. Walk us through how do you, ensure that you're finding a strategy that works for their brand and for their target audience.
So this is what I do. I do two things to start. I send them a client project form. So basically it's a form that is a bunch of questions where I want you to tell me in your own words what it is you think you need, what the kind of outcome you're expecting, some of the challenges you feel like you're facing, who it is you want to reach, and give me an example of things that you've done so far, right? Because from there, with that information, I can say, okay, based on what you said you've done, you want to reach these people, but you're having these challenges. This is your product. This is how you want to market it. I can kind of take a sense of, I can use that to say, okay, this is an idea that I have. This is what I think would work. From there, what we'll do is we'll have a conversation. We'll go over it. I want you to reiterate. I want to make sure that I'm understanding what it is that you feel like you need. And then I will help you set expectations. Because people will come to me and they'll say, I want to go viral. That's not a goal. I want 1 million followers. That's unrealistic out the gate, right? It's not impossible, but it's unrealistic out the gate. So for me, it's helpful to help level set, right? What I actually can do for you. And then we talk time periods. We talk the kind of projects, right? Do you want me to just give you a strategy and you figure it out? Do you want me to implement it for you? Is it a retainer? Is it a short project? Do you want me for the year? We got to kind of work that out because that's when we get into budgets, right? Because people think that they want a full service strategy, but they can't afford it, right? Because full service means advertising. It means influencer marketing. It means a lot of things. It means content creation. Do you have the bandwidth? Do you have somebody on your team to create content? I don't do video. I can go to Canva. As much as I talk, I can do that. I can do a little cell phone situation, but I'm not a content creator. So you kind of have to understand like what it is you're looking for, what resources you have at your disposal, and then we can kind of figure out, okay, how can I best help you? My favorite thing to do is give people a strategy and kind of see how they can kind of take it and make it their own, because that's how you learn, right? But I understand that like one person teams can be challenging, so I don't mind stepping in and implementing. But then we got to talk about like for what duration, right? And then what are the expectations during that duration? What can I offer you in 3 to 6 months? Do we have an advertising budget? Do you want to get influencers involved? Can we seed products? It's a lot more than people originally think. They think that I will give them like, oh, you post this at this time and it'll do great. It's way more involved than that. So yeah, we start with the form. We'll have a conversation. We think about the kind of project we want, and we go from there.
I like that you mentioned that saying I want to go viral, I want these many followers is not a goal, because I definitely agree with that. Because like for me, I remember I had someone reach out to me like they wanted to run my social media, and I was like, girl, I'm broke. It's fine. I don't need that. And she like sent me a form, and I can't answer those questions because I'm like, girl, I don't even know. I'm still figuring out my brand. Like every couple of months, I'll go through pictures and I'll archive stuff that's not relevant to what I want my page to look like when someone comes to my page, because the goal is when someone comes to my page, I want them to know exactly who I am and what I do. Don't come to me about stuff that's not on my page. And it's like, girl, if someone comes to me about something that's not on my page, then I know I'm not doing a good job in making it clear what I am. Because my goal is always, I just want brand awareness, and I just want my page to look cohesive. I just want it to match up with the type of stuff I put out, which is why I kind of favor close friends, because I'm trying to do this thing where I only post in my stories publicly things that matter, that match my page. When I just want to post with my friends and I'm at the club with my friends, we twerking, I try to make sure I'm putting in my close friends. Sometimes I forget. I'm like, God damn it, a bunch of people saw this. But is that a good strategy to have?
I feel two ways about that. I think if you are concerned about who's watching your page, if you feel like the type of thing that you do in your regular life may turn off a brand or something like that, then absolutely. Post in your close friends, live in your close friends, protect yourself at all costs. I do think that depending on what you want your brand to be, or who you want to show people you are, I think you might have a little bit more freedom, because for you, like your personality, you do a lot of things. You can host, you can teach, you can be funny, like you can do a lot of things. There's a personality there, so you have freedom to show people that I have a personality, because you are a person. You're marketing yourself. People aren't expecting you to not live your life. They're not expecting you to have fun. They're not expecting you to not be yourself. Now, do I mean like take a bottle to the face and show your however many thousand followers? Probably not. That's close friends activities. But if you're, having a good time with your friends and y'all are toasting a glass of champagne and it's a fun night, you can show yourself being a human being, because people want to connect with other humans. They're not trying to look for like the perfect, most professional person. Because a lot of times too, like there is an unspoken understanding to some degree that this person is building their business. They're going through the motions of building their business. There needs to be some flexibilities there. You see that a lot with like kitchen hairdressers. So you're wilding. Let's be clear. I've been doing my own hair, so I can't personally relate, but I know some people who have had some horror stories with these kitchen hairstyles, because there's a total lack of professionalism. I'm not saying do that, but there is an understanding from what I've seen in commentary that if you're a person slowly building the business from the ground up, you have a lot to learn. There's a lot of room for you to grow here. So there needs to be some flexibility. So I would say, if you want to be private about it, absolutely. There's nothing detrimental about that. But don't feel like you have to totally hide yourself from the world because you don't want to be perceived wrong. The people who want to work with you, who want to message you, will recognize that and they'll still work with you. Right? As long as you're not out here, sniffing lines all on your story and being like, hey, turn up. Time and place for everything. But yeah.
That down. I'm so mad because we only have 11 minutes. I feel like it's so much more. This is actually about to be a 2-part interview, like for now, and then could probably bring it back at the top of the year, the end of the year, like going into the new year, because I feel like social media, it's so much to touch on that we kind of just opened the bottle. We didn't even drink the champagne yet.
what I really want to get into, this is something I'm more passionate about than like knowing how to grow it, is the power of it.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we've lost control over, and we've lost control and understanding of these platforms. I think there's a lot of people using it for good. There's a lot of people who recognize the power it can take, it can give you to make money on the platform, but there's a entire ocean of people who are using it in a way that is detrimental, and quite terrifying, right? I don't think people are mindful enough as to who these videos are reaching and how they're reaching people. So I really want to get into at some point the power of it, because I think we forget that it's programming at the end of the day. It is programming, and we are feeding into the programming with our own shit, and we're hurting ourselves in the process. But I digress, because I can go into that all day.
Well, let's do like a short version of it.
Okay, so I think that we don't understand I think that social media is not just a tool, right? It can do a lot for us. It can help us make money. It can help foster connection. It can give you the exposure that you might not get on a day-to-day basis in your regular life, right? And I think that there's some real beautiful things that can happen within that. I've seen people's lives change, seemingly overnight. I think his name is Keith Powers, the guy who does like the food reviews.
Love him.
His story is beautiful, because he was like, yo, I just started doing videos to get over my social anxiety, and like now him and his wife are Dior down on red carpets and floor seats at games, all because he took that chance and really worked to build it. At the same time, he helped so many businesses stay in business.
Yep.
Just by talking about how good or bad even their food was. So there's a beauty that can be tapped into on social media. But on the other side of that, we also need to understand that because many of us, millions of people, are glued to our phones, we don't really understand, we're not really fully aware of the repercussions it has for what's being shown, right? We're seeing an increase in body dysmorphia. The types of conversations that are happening on social are divisive and detrimental to our community. When I say us, our community.
Yep, I agree.
Our children are watching us have these conversations in public, right? So while we're arguing about who needs to pay what bill and what's going down on the girls' trip, our children are absorbing it. And you're probably like, oh, people say, it's the parents' fault and they need to be more involved, and that's fine, right? That argument can be made. At the
whole
same
circle
time,
of responsibility that needs to be shared.
And
to be honest,
because everyone has access to it, because everyone feels like their opinion is worth something, I'm sorry, I don't think everybody should have a public opinion. Some of you niggas need to shut the fuck up and go read a book. I'll digress.
Yes.
But because everyone has access to this platform, and we feel like because we can post, we got something to say, I'm gonna say it, we're not being mindful of the power of that. A lot of people are using that as an opportunity to be sensational. They're trying to go viral. They're trying to, they're trying to be provocative and invoke a lot of engagement. They want people to argue with them in their comments. They want to do a lot of shit. And yeah, it's funny. I'll be in the comments reading what people are saying. I'll be crying, laughing half the time. And I think it's hilarious. But at the same time, I listen to certain things and I'm just like, yo, are we serious right now? Like, are we dead ass? Like, we're having these ridiculous conversations. Nonsensical shit is being said. I'm sure the people saying it know it's nonsensical, but because it gets the people going, they're going to say it, they're going to post it, it's going to go viral. But like, there's a 14-year-old somewhere who is in a very impressionable state that might not have people around him or her or them to guide them and mold them and show them right from wrong and give them the tool of discernment, right? They're just absorbing. They're absorbing and they're regurgitating, right? So now we got 12-year-olds talking about their girlfriends need to cook for them or be quiet or can't be gold diggers. And I'm like, you're fucking 12. So there's and then also thinking about how it affects us, right? Like the trend of BBLs. Men are starting to get their knees lengthened because they don't want to be short. the rhetoric around men being short, the rhetoric around girls having, you know, flat asses or no hips or little titties or big titties or whatever the fuck it is. Like, we're in a space where we're like hyper criticizing ourselves and each other. And we are not really not aware enough of the ways in which our brains are being programmed. I struggle, and this is why I'm like the most anti-social media manager. Like, I'm good at it, so I do it for work, and I get paid to do it. But it is hard for me too, because I have to constantly check myself to see, like, okay, if I have a thought that's negative about myself, I have to ask, like, wait, where did that come from?
Oh yeah.
Where did I feel like having slim hips was a problem? Because I still get niggas. It hasn't been that big of an issue, but it's very easy for you to feel like, damn, like everybody getting the BBL and her hips sit out real nice, and I'm out here, you know, a little. It's easy.
Last episode that when I did the BuzzFeed thing, like some of the mean comments I was reading, and it was getting to me. Like people, and I've never felt having issues about my body, because again, I still get dudes still talk to me, but I've noticed that every time in comments or something, the first thing people go to is like, oh, your big bag, or this, like, oh, she like a linebacker.
Mind you,
at first it was
they
funny.
Back bigger. They bag is bigger behind that camera. It's a fake page. You hide it behind.
I used to laugh at it, but then when you constantly see those comments, I used to go to bed like, damn, like, is there something wrong with that? I was in the mirror like, am I a linebacker? Like, it really does take a toll on you. And I started having to like just kind of, let me look at the good comments. What are the people saying that they love about me? And I have to just focus on that. But it does take a toll on you mentally.
Yeah. And I don't think that we're you know, aware enough of the ways in which it affects us. I think that you know, we can stand to be more mindful. We can stand to be more aware. We can stand to push people to create content that doesn't always feed into the negativity, because we know that is what's going to move. Negativity moves fast as fuck.
It does.
It moves faster than positivity. And because people know that, instead of, you know, working against the machine, they just want to feed into it because it works for them. It works for their engagement. It works for their visibility. But we're not thinking about the effects of it. And I think that we need to do more. And I mean, there's a lot within that, right? There's a lot of self-work that needs to be done, as well as group work. But yeah, it's an incredibly powerful programming tool. I want people to remember, you're being programmed. Again, Meta is a business. Meta is not here for you to just post pictures and show yourself off and for you to make all the money in the world. They have business ideals as well. They answer to bigger people. They have a bottom line, and they will do things that will further their business's bottom line. They are not working for the people. You are working for them. Read your terms and conditions. Let's be clear. Read your terms and conditions. Let's be clear. Like, and if we're going to be on here, we're going to be having conversations, and we're going to be creating content, like, offer something real and substantial. Let's let go of some of that bullshit, bro. It's too much of it. It's an oversaturation of it. I love a good shit talk. I love a good kiki. I love a good laugh at some nonsense. We need that levity, right? We do. Life is hard. Bills are billing. Aliens, inflation. We need the levity, but we need to be mindful. There needs to be a better balance, because shit's getting spooky, and we're going to need each other more than we've ever needed each other when shit hits the fan. But the types of ways that we're engaging with each other, the types of conversations we're having, we're pointing fingers at each other, the types of rhetorics that are being pushed, we're at a point where, if we're thinking gender wars, we're at a point where people think men think women don't deserve shit, women think men don't deserve shit. That's dangerous in a lot of ways, right? Our children are watching that. We're having a hard time connecting in real life with some people. We're having a hard time building relationships with people. And I think social media, you know, again, music, TV, the whole nine, media in general, but social media is the thing that we have more of a hand in. And we need to be more mindful of that. So that's I'm gonna get off my soapbox now, because
that was actually the perfect way to end this, because I know Instagram gonna boot me in an hour. In 1 minute.
Don't hit too much and talking too much shit.
No, but I love this. I'm bringing you back. We have to talk about some more, but just let the people know where to find you so they can book you. I thank you so much. This was amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's Big Jazz, not the little one. It's Big Jazz, so how it sound. You can go to my page. You can book me, link in bio. My website's in my bio, atjconsulting.co. Check my workout. If you follow Snipes, check them out too. You can kind of see what I've been doing for them over the last couple of years. Yeah, and if you want to have a conversation, let's talk about it. I can figure out if I can help you, how I can help you, and we can go from there.
Yes.
Thank you, JiJi.
Yes, thank you so much. Again, don't worry, y'all. She coming back because we didn't even get to the good shit yet.
Did not.
This was amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, lovely. Have a good night, y'all.
Bye.